you're on the come up, you better turn up. Indie Jamz Radio, yeah.
Yeah, this your boy P Dope. I'm down here kicking it on Indie Jamz with my girl Elvy. She keeping it lit for Orlando. Turn it up one time and put it on for the Indies. Indie Jamz Radio.
Hey, it's your girl Fati Love in the building, Philly to Florida. Hey, what's good? I'm here at Indie Jamz. Indie Jamz popping, it's lit.
It's Juvie Wham. And y'all tune in to Indie Jamz. Florida boy lit. Wow.
Time could only show me that this space was a disaster. It's a disaster. If you let me take you, I swear I would make it up to you forever. Show you I'm much better than I was. Offer us.
Feel the love if you are not the shy. Loving you makes life without a fighting. Take you there, I'll make you feel enlightened, yeah. My breathing skipping beats them off slightly. It's hard to see past all of those heights. Your lips are touching me, there's lightning, yeah. Anything for you, there's really nothing I won't do to make a life we can't forget. For all the ones I never do or even break a little minute. Separate from all existence that I so sing and let's just take a little listen to my heart and all its wishes. Feeling that they're part of my intuition. But for now I have to listen. Baby, just show me how you miss it.
I could be most anything. I could be most anything. Anything for you, anything for you, you. Anything for you, anything for you, you. I could be most anything. And I just wanna say that, baby, I learned all my lessons from you. And I'ma be the one to start confessing that it all must be true. I did it for you, did it for us, did it for love, did it for trust. Anything for you.
What is going on, world? It's your girl Elvy. You are now locked into the Indie Jamz radio show. Man, we had a crazy Sunday today. I just want to give a quick shout out to Simba with Free Yourself Radio. I mean, we had some really dope artists, some shockers too. You would be surprised. I mean, I guess like sometimes like on the outside, you guys as artists, like it's hard to tell like what kind of music you make or like how experienced you are or how talented you are. And then you come in and you just like super shy, don't talk to anyone, sit in the corner, and then we hear the dopest song ever. That happened to me today, and it's really hard to like wow me because I listen to like hundreds and hundreds of songs from you indie artists all day long, and this artist I was just like I was completely blown away. So it just made me respect your guys' like craft and how much you guys really put into making the music. So you guys have my respect here. You always have, but today was a real like if I ever was about to give up, today was a reminder not to. But with that said, guys, we got a dope interview right here, right now. We got Carolina in the building.
You're my check 1, 2.
Yeah,
Good
yeah.
morning. Good morning.
Afternoon.
Oh yeah.
Carolina in a different universe right now, but it's lit. We here. We're gonna have a great interview. So let's start. I want to start at the top. Like, who is Carolina? Who is Carolina? Who are you? Where you come from? Why your music so dope?
Oh man. I definitely, well, yes, my name's Carolina. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you so much for
You're
having
welcome.
me. Yeah, so I'm based in South Florida. You know, I come to Orlando a lot, just to do, you know, shows and things like this, you know, that are blessings, recording with collaborators. And, yeah, so what I do, I'm a songwriter, I'm a producer, a singer, a performer, an actress, and I've been studying music for about 15 years, and I'd say I've been in the industry for about half of that time. And it's been quite the journey. It genuinely has. So I'm definitely excited to get into it, you know. But yeah, more so, I play piano, guitar, drums. So I've really tried to like do as much as I possibly can in the music world, because I have so much passion for it that once that flame ignited within me, it was hard for me to try to do anything else.
All right, so let's start in the beginning. Like, how old were you, or when did you first decide to like step into the music scene, jump behind a microphone, put pen to paper, write a song? Like, when did that all start for you?
Definitely. So I started piano lessons in like 3rd grade, and I hated it. I mean, I didn't. Okay, maybe hate is a really strong word. I didn't like practicing, and I didn't like having to sit there and like read the notes, and I was like, but having a keyboard allowed me to just kind of freestyle, and I was like, well, I like the way this sounds. And then in 5th grade, one of my music teachers gave me a singing solo, and I was like, me? Are you sure? And I sang, you know, a song at some chorus concert, and
That's amazing.
And yeah, it is, but you know, I watched the video years after, and I was like, ooh, you know, that's rough. But
you had to try. You know, how would you have known?
yeah, no, I mean, like, I was on pitch, but I think what got me was I was like really nervous. But right after that moment, I was like, Mom, I need to take singing classes.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you. So did you jump
Yeah.
into like vocal lessons?
Yeah, right away. Yeah, it's that eerie. It's Halloween weekend. You know, we can't forget it. But
Clearly, it's spooky season out here.
spooky things going on back there. Yeah. So I was like, yo, Mom, like, I need vocal lessons. And we just started looking up academies and vocal teachers in the area, and from there, like, I'm telling you, from middle school, because I was about to enter middle school,
Right.
like, that was my whole life: musical theater, performances, studying, academies, and like, it all kind of just started to pour in, and that's where my performance technique started. And I feel really lucky that it started that young, because now I really feel like I don't want to say I feel like I've mastered what I do feel like I've mastered what I do. Obviously, there's always room for improvement. I can always get better the more I go through. But to feel that way right now is a beautiful thing, and that's because of all of that support that I had growing up.
Okay.
Yeah.
So everybody was like, okay, this is the direction you want to go. You have our full support. Whatever you need, we got you. You know,
Yeah.
that's a beautiful thing, because
is.
I hear a lot of people say that, you know, they didn't have that kind of support, or they wanted it, they needed it, never got it. And it's because, I mean, we'll be honest, where's the money in music? You're putting out way more money than you're investing way more than what you're seeing right now.
Yeah.
Because you got to get to that level to where you can get paid to do shows,
Right.
and tour,
Yeah.
and actually make money off your merch.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to have something that's, you know, marketable.
Yeah, no, it's I mean, thankfully I've always been taught to follow my passion.
Right.
And that's what I did. And you know, all that other stuff came later. Like once they're like, "Oh, she's doing this for real." Like,
Yeah.
it's not just like a hobby.
No, it's for real. Like, if you guys haven't yet, go check out her IG, man. It's real. It's real.
Oh, thank you. So once that started becoming a factor, again, like, it's still supported though, and it's still being understood as like, hey, like, and it's difficult because when you're not in an industry that is art, it's hard to understand, oh, you don't have like a set schedule every single day of like 9 to 5, I guess. I mean, because yeah, you schedule things, but you know how the industry is. Things are all over the place half the time. And then, you don't have like a salary coming in, or, you know, so those types of things, as you step into adulthood, are like, ooh, like,
I can imagine.
Do I keep going? You know,
I can imagine getting like a check and it's like, oh, you just made $5,000. It's like, great, I haven't paid my rent in 2 months, so there goes half the check.
Oh my god!
Right, and it's like, okay, well, I need groceries, I need to pay for my car, and then pay my credit card. You probably put stuff on your credit card. By the time you're done, you got like, you know, $500. You're like, wow, okay, I made so much money.
Right. Yeah, it is like that a lot. It's like, it'll, you know, sometimes it'll be like one big check from something like a sync placement, or like a show or a partnership, and it's like, yo, that's great. And then you pay your bills and you're like,
I'm going to talk about that a little bit, because I was realizing when you got here, reading your emails and stuff, that you take on a lot of this stuff yourself. I mean, you did mention that you do have, you know, some type of management, which is great.
Yeah.
But you are very independent. Like, if this is Indie Jamz Radio, you are indie. So tell me about like the placements and stuff, especially like sync placements, because a lot of artists, they just try to get like on Spotify and then SoundCloud, and their goal is to like Apple and get streaming, but they forget that there's other opportunities out there. So what have you ventured into as far as like your music and getting it out there?
Yeah, I think well, streaming obviously, of course, is really important. I mean, I miss the days where we would burn CDs for people. Like, I really do. But I mean, that was my first EP ever. I did make hard copies of it, and you know, I had CDs for sale, which was dope. But in terms of how the industry has shifted so much in such a short amount of time, in my opinion, with all the technological advances, sync placements, it's a huge thing for artists that I think it's now starting to be tapped into more. I didn't even imagine that to be something that I would even be so involved with. But I went to this concert a few years ago to go support one of my friends. He's a hip hop artist, and I was a really big fan of a lot of the other artists. And so I just introduced myself and whatever, and one thing led to another, and he was like, one of the artists, Diraj, was like, hey, I just became an A&R of a small, you know, it's an, I guess you would call it for music production. Okay. They call it production music, which is primarily for sync placements, TV, film, commercials, all that kind of stuff.
Where the real money's at.
Right. Exactly. So he's like, you know, we just started it up. We're distributing through BMG. I was like, that sounds fancy, cool. Like, I didn't know, you know. And then, so they sent over some tracks. I wrote to them, and then like maybe a few months later, they're like, hey, congrats, like you got your first sync placement. And I was like, huh? Like, and I saw my song like on a commercial or something, and I was like, oh. And then it started becoming TV shows. And then from there, I started to tap into other opportunities in sync, not just with that one company, Music Makers, but with a couple other companies, as well as there's online platforms. I mean, indie artists, it is absolutely possible. Like, go to these websites, submit your songs, and it could very well get picked up. So that's kind of, you know, my biggest one so far, I think, has been Love Victor on Hulu. And I would say, like, Selling Sunsets on Netflix seems to be a pretty big one that people like. It's a reality show. I recently saw I was on like Jersey Shore, and I was like, oh, this is amazing. Jersey Shore.
That's pretty dope. Yeah. I like Selling Sunsets though. I like shows about like how you can make money. I like to watch. I like to watch how rich, even though it's like a show and it's like acting and stuff, it still has. It has a basis to it, and that's that you can make money doing this. Yeah. So I love watching how like rich people are rich, and like how they got rich, and how they act bougie when they're rich. Yeah, because that's always a goal for all of us. It should be, and not just to be rich with money, but just carry yourself like you're wealthy. I guess there are two different things: being rich and being wealthy. So I would prefer being wealthy, because when you wealthy, you don't care about nothing. Like, you don't gotta worry in the world. Like, all your bills are taken care of. And now you just got stupid money at that point. You're like, okay, what charity should I donate to today? Yeah, that's crazy. But okay, so the music placements, getting your music out there and everything, you know, being on shows. How does that feel? How does it feel when you look back at like who you were, let's say 5th grade, because you said that's when you first started, right? Yeah. Like, you look at the younger you and you're like, man, look at everything you had to go through to get where you are today. Like, how does that feel?
it's overwhelming because I'm so grateful. Like I've written, you know, I've been doing a lot of work on myself lately, and because as an artist, like, you're constantly critiquing yourself. You're constantly asking, well, how can I be better? Or you know, what can I do next? And you kind of miss some of the moments. So I've written like letters to my inner child, I think I wrote a letter from my inner child to myself, actually, and it was like one of the most. It was really impactful because it's like, yo, like, what would little me say to me now?
Mm-hmm.
Like, stop being so hard on yourself.
Yeah.
You know, like, you're doing this. You're doing it in ways that you didn't even think were possible. So
And
it's
you're doing it a lot of it on your own.
yeah, no, I am, and it is a lot. I'm not gonna lie, but I don't think I'd have it any other way right now. Like, at least in the come up process. I mean, because I've put in the work, and that shows me how I want things to be and how I don't want things to be, so that when I do have a bigger team or a label or a bigger budget or whatever it is, I know exactly how I want things to operate. So, so yeah, it's definitely a huge blessing, and I'm forever grateful. I'm always gonna be grateful. Yeah.
Let me ask you this, Carolina. Like, what keeps you going? Like, what keeps you inspired, motivated? Like, being an artist, I know you guys struggle, and that's a whole nother question I'll probably ask you after this. Is, you know, basically, you know, what is the hardest thing you went through? But just now, I know you have those days where it's just rough and you just want to give up. What gets you back up and gets you going?
No, it's crazy you mentioned that, because those days happen so much more often than not. The days that I'm like, yo, I really don't think I could do this anymore. And it's not so much just like, it's like you forget, you lose the light of like your talent and the actual art itself, because there's so many other things surrounding it to deal with. But in those kinds of moments, genuinely what keeps me going is my faith, and understanding that I've been given this gift of music and poetry and acting and all of this art that is just constantly pouring out of me, that I'm like, there's no way that I'm not meant to be impacting people with this, that I'm not meant to be expressing myself in this way. So definitely my faith, because that's the whole thing, is like, when you believe in what you can't see it. There's no like physical proof in front of my face right now. When you just believe, yo, like it's going to happen. It's going to come to fruition. So I would say faith, and also there have just been clear signs for me, like, because there have been moments, and I remember key moments in my career where I'm like, all right, I think this is going to be my last show, or my last show for a while, or okay, I think I'm just going to fall off for a little bit. And I'm like, no. Like, I can't afford to do that right now. Yeah. But you know, but this is my thought process. And then literally the next day, or there was one show where I was like, okay, this is going to be it. Like, this is going to be my last one for a while. It was at a college, an orientation. Like, I was performing with my band, at a college, and I was like, okay, you know, we'll see. I'm just gonna get up there, I'm gonna have fun, I'm gonna see how this audience, you know, receives but ultimately I'm gonna have fun, but this is gonna be it for a while. And then after the show, like, everybody in the crowd came up to like meet me, and it was I was like, whoa, like, I just didn't, and I feel like that's God just saying, like, yo, I got you, like, it's okay. Like, it's okay. So there have been quite a few moments like that, where my spirit has just felt really deflated and discouraged, and then things like that will happen. Yeah. So, you know, and then I go back and I look at all the things I've done, and I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, you know, so yeah, that's what keeps me going. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's crazy. I can't imagine being on a stage just like, yeah, I'm just gonna have fun, this is such a great time, and then in the end, it's like everyone's roaring for you, and you're just like, well, I took it easy on you guys. Like, that was light work.
Yeah, no, exactly. And that's the thing, because normally before shows, I'm like, you know, this has to be perfect. But I was like, you know what? Like, just stop putting so much pressure.
Maybe
you know?
that's when it means the most.
Exactly.
Those moments prove to you, like, it's just like, I know that it's hard. But sometimes when you just stop putting so much pressure, and you stop putting, like, so much thought into it, and you just be your authentic, just normal self, like you say, you just went out there and did whatever you wanted, and then everyone loved it. Like, that's gotta be amazing. That's gotta be the most gratifying feeling, probably. Like,
you know, it was because it was a crowd that I I like demographic wise, I don't think I had really tapped into, like, you know, college kids, but also it was like a different crowd than,
Was it like an EDM festival or something?
It was like the hula hoops and the you know,
Yeah, that's definitely
yeah,
EDM.
and like I'm like, yo, whoever my music reaches, wonderful.
Yeah.
You know, so but I had never performed in front of that type of crowd, because I'm used to catering to, like, you know, R&B
Yeah.
or whatever. But I mean, I did my own thing. Like, I always stick true to what I do. I don't try to conform to, like, well, what do I think they're gonna like? You know,
Yeah.
You know, it's. But it was a lot of that growing up. But I mean, so many beautiful moments have happened here in Orlando as well, which is, you know, wonderful for me. Like, as an artist, just some like key moments that I remember as well that have been, you know, whether it was an amazing show or my feedback. You know, I think I played with Fusion out here. Fusion.
Yeah.
And
I love that. Shout out to Jen.
yes. And
You going to the awards?
I'm gonna see if I can be in town for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I have a couple friends nominated and stuff like that.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I mean, I've done some shows with them, but the first thing I ever did with them was a few years ago. It was an open mic, and I was here, and I was like, let me see if I can hit an
that
open
camp?
mic. Yes.
I love camp.
Yes.
I
And
just went to the last camp. I was
Oh, for
scouting
real?
for artists.
That's
yeah.
what's up.
I
No,
love
yeah.
to just watch everybody perform, and I
Yeah.
just sit in the corner, and I'll be like, that one's gonna blow up.
Right. No, it's real. And so I went. I didn't know what to expect. I was definitely new stepping into the scene here because it was a few years ago, and it was primarily hip hop and R&B. You know, people with a track, really talented artists. You know, DJ. You know, there's a DJ spinning. That, you know, there's
Shout out to DJ AO.
yes, DJ AO. And you know, like, so I'm like, okay, well, I brought my guitar, so I'm like,
Wow,
you know,
did all that.
so yeah, because
I know you shut the place down.
well, that's the thing. Because everybody was up there with the track and hyping up the crowd, I was like, all right, well, I'm gonna sing a song on my guitar now, you know. And so, and I didn't know how it was gonna be, but I mean, it was one of the most epic
Yeah.
moments because I got up there, I started playing, and then when I started singing, you know, the mood usually shifts, and I'm like, okay, cool. They like, you know, and this is
Yeah.
all in my head.
Of
Like, I'm
course.
doing my thing on the surface, but in my head, I'm like, oh my god, you know,
okay,
especially
it's
when
like,
you're
okay, they're nodding.
right,
They love it.
right. Especially because, again, like, when you're new, you're like, what? But then, you know, DJ AO started playing a beat on the beat pad on his board, and then, like, another artist got up and beatboxed with me. Another artist got up and played his violin during the song, and it just ended up the entire place. And I was like, whoa, like this,
Yeah.
you know. So yeah, that's
I would
yeah.
tell you one thing though about camp is that everyone in that building is there for respect of the stage, the
Yeah.
audience, and the performances. There's nobody up there judging you. You could be
Right.
the worst person that ever
Right.
performed, and you would still get love, and you could
Yeah.
be the best, and that place will be so
yeah,
loud.
yeah.
Because I saw it last time I was there. It was just crazy because I've seen this guy interview on one of my shows, but then seeing him perform, he blew the place away, and I just knew it. And I was in the corner, like I literally hide in the corner because
Yeah,
I was
same.
like, I don't really, I'm
Yeah.
not here to interact. I'm just here to watch a show, you know.
Right, right.
And I just was like, oh my god, like he's gonna blow up. And he's
Right.
like, sounds like Frank Sinatra. I'm like, oh
Nice.
my god.
Nice. That's
And the
awesome.
fact that it was all hip hop, R&B, and then he got up there and sang like he was in
Yeah.
the opera, and
Wow.
everybody loved it. And
Yeah.
I was just looking around like, okay, this is Orlando.
Yeah, that's
Like,
what that's
this
what
is
I'm
Orlando.
saying, yo. That's why I like it so much here because, you know, I've traveled a lot. I've come across a lot of different scenes. You know, every city has their own kind of thing going on. And Orlando just has that, like, respectful place when it comes to artists. You know, they actually show up for the music and support what you do. And that's really important. So, mad respect to Orlando. Yeah,
It's crazy.
definitely.
So I know I was asking you before, and I said I will ask you after. So what's like
Okay.
the most like challenging thing you've been through like in your career? I know you've been through a lot, but
Yeah.
what is the hardest thing that you had to face?
The hardest thing I've had to face. Probably, I could think of two things, I guess. Maybe, as an independent artist, not having a big budget is very, can be frustrating sometimes because you have to really find ways to, like, finesse a lot of things. Like, even I think with this interview, like, I mean, I'm out here, me and my team are, like, out here, like, cold emailing people. Like, hey, we're trying to do a media tour. Can we hit this? Can we hit these spots? Okay. Can we get an interview? Can we get a blog? So, you know, not having that push, that I mean, after a certain amount of time, like, that you put in, and you know, the craft being up to par finally, right? The sound being what you want it to be. It can get frustrating because the art grows. And again, like you said, the return of investment isn't immediate. So all this stuff. So I think budget, and then also just I don't know if I would consider this to be like difficult, but a lot of sacrifice for sure. Sacrifice. My mental health. I've really had to keep myself like locked in, because it's a very difficult place to be when your job is to be vulnerable all the time and accessible all the time. So your mental health, if you don't pay enough attention, it could really start to spiral. So those are some things that I've encountered, that they are difficult, but again, through your trials, you have to be able to find joy. And that, I think that is it is difficult, but again, I'm grateful for the fact that I've encountered these things, because I know one day, like, it's all gonna make sense. So I think those are probably the most.
Oh yeah, you're gonna be on the billboards for sure.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're definitely gonna be up there.
Thank you.
You know what? And I'll tell you, like, I have friends like from all over, and when I first came here, the reason I even decided to get in music is because I knew people who were here in Orlando making music, and they were well-known people, and now obviously they've blown up and they're in LA.
Right.
But the goal is to blow up. I mean, what else would you guys be doing it for?
Right,
and you think 10 years ago, people tell me stories about Kalani, and they're like, Kalani went to every show.
Yeah.
Kalani was in the crowd with the regular people. She was at the open mics. She was doing all that, and then she met the right people along the way, and then boom. So that's just how it goes. That's just the way it goes.
Right.
So we started the show with this song, right?
Yeah.
Was it I Could Be?
What
was that song about? Who was that song about?
Oh.
You said you write your music, so I know you
do.
wrote that one.
I did. So yeah, my friend Jamor, he's an amazingly talented artist from Atlanta. He sent me a beat, and he's like, I want you to have this beat. Don't even worry, just take the beat, do something to it. I'm like, all right. Of course, it was so good. I love the beat. I was like, yes. Because, normally I've been producing for myself, or I produce with instruments, whatever. So when I write to beats, it's a whole different type of vibe, and I love it.
Right.
So, it's kind of, I put it out as a freestyle, because my co-writer partner, Conscious, he's on the record with me. And we, I wrote this hook. I started it with the hook, I could be, and because there's a sample in there that does it like high pitch.
A fire sample.
Thank you. Yeah. So I kind of emulated that, and I actually think I wrote that one just completely off the like, I had my phone recording. My homeboy was over. We were in my home studio, and I'm like, let me just like play a few beats and see like what comes to me. And the exact like melodies and word choices that I used in the voice memo ended up being what I ended up putting in the final record. But yeah, the song is it's really like I could be anything for you. So it's, coming out of COVID times being a very difficult, because I do remember I wrote that on the tail end of COVID, and I went through some difficult things, and one of those being of course relationship, and that one is kind of like it's like the things that I would say to this person, and there's a lot of repetition in the song for a reason. Like, everything I'll do is intentional. The hook repeats itself so much, not because I couldn't think of other lyrics, but because when you're at that point where you're like, yo, like, I'm going to, like, it's almost like everything is taken out of you, and this is all I have left. This is the most raw version of me that you are going to hear, and that's why it's just, anything for you, like,
That was raw.
I could be.
I know
like,
y'all hear that.
Like,
That's
everything
real.
is just,
There's no
I could
vocal
be,
effects
I could
on
be,
that
like,
voice.
So it's kind of, it's redundant, but it's like, this is how many times I'm going to say it until you actually believe what I'm saying. So yeah, it's really what it's about. And then, Conscious came in and just, we always are on that same frequency of like, I feel like a lot of the stuff he writes, I feel like we're, I'm like, dang, it feels like I wrote that too,
Yeah.
So he always is able to understand where I'm at, what I'm trying to say. so his part is one of my favorite parts of the song.
Oh yeah, you guys fit perfect
Thank
together.
you. Yeah,
Yeah, you guys blended right in. Honestly, like when you're on the outside, and I know this is like super cliche to say, when you hear like a guy and a girl on a song that sound good, it's like you automatically think, oh, they're singing to each other, because that's what, and I'm sure that's what you guys want, because you're telling a story in this song, and you're feeling. I love R&B music, so if I can feel it, and if I feel raw emotion, I'm like, oh my god, they love each other. They don't know. They should tell each other. And then everybody's like, what are you talking about? And I'm like, y'all don't hear them singing to each other?
That's an interesting perspective. 'Cause I know that when him and I write, we're usually singing about our own things.
Yeah.
But when it comes down to it, it could very well be, this is what I'd be saying to you.
Yeah.
Like, this is what what his part could potentially be what that person would be saying to me.
Yeah. Do you see what I mean?
Exactly.
Where it's like you guys are playing those
Exactly.
parts where it's like the two people like in the relationship singing to each other.
Right.
I love songs like that. I mean, look, J-Lo did it with LL Cool J. Obviously, they weren't in a relationship.
Yeah,
Ja Rule
right.
did it with Ashanti. They were never together. She was actually with Irv Gotti, but you know what I mean? But because they do that, it's like you think in your mind that these people are together, and you're like, yo,
it creates a story, right?
Yeah, and it's like then you get the music video, and you're like, oh yeah, they definitely, it's just but that's just
definitely.
because you guys are so good at being in tune with your own emotions and putting pen to paper and the lyricism, and then obviously the music mastering, engineering, production side of it is so well blended that it's just like a whole love story.
Yeah, that's the goal.
Yeah, you did it though.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
The mission accomplished. You did that.
Wonderful.
So we got another song from you. I want to get into it. This one is Slipping Away. So can you tell me a little bit about Slipping Away? Because one is like, I could be everything for you, and then another one's like, gotta slipping away. I make a story out of everything. I'm super dramatic. I'm a Cancer guy, so I'm super emo. Like,
I love it.
So one second, I could be everything for you. Next second, slipping away.
Yeah.
What's going on?
What's going on? No, yeah. Thank you for asking. I haven't seen my therapist in a while. So.
This one's on me.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So it is actually very much about the same scenario, just from a different perspective. So it's like, yo, I could be, in all this space and all this distance, like, it's too much. And then slipping away is like, I can feel you slipping away from me.
I think that's the most toughest part about any relationship is when there's like, there's a saying, it's like, oh, you ever been next to somebody, but they aren't actually there, but they're physically there, but emotionally, you're so disconnected.
Yeah.
That's that slipping away part. And I think that's the most painful to me. Like,
it's very painful.
You just break up with me, break my heart, I'll be fine. But that whole dragging out of the slipping away, it's torture.
It is torture. It is, and that's what this song is supposed to. It's supposed to, the verses are very calm and intimate. And then the hook, it steps into this, like, I basically pitched my voice, where, like, the lyrics, unless you're looking at the lyrics, you might not be able to tell what I'm saying, but it's, what do I gotta do to make you stay here? So it's very much, the intentions are clear, but the hook feels very hard and very chaotic, whereas the verses are more calm. So the reason I do that is so the listener feels that too. Like, when the music is calm, when my vocals are calm, I'm trying to be very matter of fact. When the hook comes in and it feels chaotic and it feels heavy, that's because that's what it literally feels like to go through this. So yeah, that's what slipping away is. It's like recognizing what is happening in that time, and it's like, yo, I can feel you slipping away from me. You remain guarded. You left with no warning. I can feel you under my fingertips. You're taking what I had left, but I'm holding to what you said. So there's that element of like, obviously you're slipping away. I don't want to let you go. If that's what you need to do right now, by all means, but I could still be anything for you. So you see, it does come full circle.
It does come full circle.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Your pen game is serious. Do you write for other people too, or just you? You do?
Yeah, I write for other artists. I produce for other artists as well. But yeah, I do write for other artists, and it's really cool because
that's a whole bag right there. When you can actually write and you can write some hits. But that's gotta be tough because like imagine that scared me again. See, I want to start, but I'm not
Yeah.
gonna let it start yet. 'Cause
Okay,
I got one more question.
All right.
When you're writing the song, right, and
Uh-huh.
then you're giving the song away to somebody else, but that's your feelings and your raw emotions on that, and then somebody else like sings it or performs it, like, how does that feel? Because it's like they're singing your emotions, and are they even doing it right?
I think, well, at least lately, I've been blessed to like be a part of the experience, and it's not so much like, okay, here's a song, go sing it, you know. At least not yet, not too much. So I'm very like I'm very involved with the people that I work with that are singing lyrics that I've written or melodies that I've written or suggestions, because I keep the artist in mind. So yes, I'm coming from my own soul, and I have my own like footprints, like where it's like, did Gato write that? You know, and that's what I want. I want my style to be heard in other artists' work that I work with, because that's like your niche. That's, you know, that's what I love that. Now, but in terms of, you know, I have written where artists are just kind of complete, like the entire song. It's just here you go. But again, I have their brand in mind. I have their experiences in mind. So even though it is coming from me and my experiences, I'm also catering to their own as well, which is where the psychology element comes in. As a songwriter and a producer, you want to make sure everyone feels heard. You want to make sure that when the artist is singing that song, that they don't feel like they're singing somebody else's song. They feel like it's theirs. So, and like the best choices were made in the production of the song. So
That's crazy.
Yeah.
It's always, you know, people make such a big deal about like, you know, ghostwriters and stuff like that, and I'm just like, they're artists.
Yeah, no,
Art is meant to be shared.
It is. Yeah,
Some of
absolutely.
the greatest songs you've heard have been written by somebody completely different. You
know.
just don't know because you don't check the credits.
Yeah. It's I shed that news onto a lot of my friends. I'm like, you know, that person wrote that song, right? Like this other person wrote that song for that person. And they're like, what? And then it becomes like a mind blowing.
Yeah, The Dream,
how it is,
Neo writes. There's so many like big artists that
Yeah.
write for other artists, and it's just like you don't even know. But then they want to fight about Drake, and I'm just like, well, come on, you can't be picky and choosy. You were just singing this other song last week.
Yeah, it's because so badly people want the artist to be the one writing it, which makes sense because you think, you know, hey, I'm falling in love with your music. I want to fall in love with you as an artist as well. But if you're just kind of like the face of it, and the emotion and the melodies and
then who's that?
Who is that?
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's the person I want to know. Yeah, there is an artist though that I just caught on to. Now I can't think of her name right now. But she writes a lot for other artists, and then I went and found her, and now I love her music.
Dang. So you don't remember who it is?
I've got to look on my Apple, because it was like my friend had like a playlist, like their playlist, and they shared it with me.
Okay.
I actually could probably go in and look, because I did share one song she had.
Sure, yeah,
I know
curious.
she's from Jersey.
Okay.
And I know that she is a writer.
Okay.
And now she has been making her own music.
Nice. Okay.
So
cool.
she's R&B, and I was just like,
Right.
what? These breakup songs are fire. I wasn't even going through a
Yeah.
breakup, but it made me feel like it resurfaced all those feelings.
Oh,
You know, I got on the phone real quick. It was like, doom, doom, you know what I'm saying? Send that. I didn't even know I still felt that way, but now I do.
God. It'd be like that sometimes.
Yeah, it is like that.
Yeah.
But listen, I want to get into this song.
Let's do it. Yeah.
Let's take a little break. Let's
Right.
listen to Slipping Away. We talked a lot about it, so I hope you guys enjoy it.
Wonderful.
I always knew there'd come a time where I'd have to speak my mind. And if anyone's for me, I hope it's you. And I know that you see through it. The other me I tried to ruin, and you wanna let me in, but you know I can feel you slipping away from me. As far as what I can see, you remain guarded, left with no one, and I can feel you under my fingertips, taking what I have left, holding on what you say. Like, dear, I can't reach my
hope it's you. I done play my role, it's time to take my shot and shoot. I done had these feelings and I don't know what to do. Say I don't know what to do. Every time I look up in the mirror, I get confused. I put on a big smile, but you can see right through. There ain't no point in lying, and I know you know the truth. And I know it too. It's time to make a move. I can't feel you slipping away from me. I'm losing my sanity. 'Cause you are my fantasy. I want this to be out of reality. As far as I can see, I feel like you're feeling me. So what you wanna do?
Alright, guys. Welcome back. Man, we just here chilling, having a good time, talking about music.
Definitely.
Talking about life. Thank God we took that break. We don't want to have those type of conversations.
Right.
But listen, guys, we got a great opportunity. I can't announce anything yet. It sucks, but I'm like, damn, I want to talk about it already. I want to tell people. All right, but at least I know this much. There is an event in New York going down, and Power 105 is gonna be there. On the Radar is gonna be there. Staten Island artists, it's like their own group. They're gonna be there. It's a dope opportunity to be a part of this and be connected with like so many great platforms and just put us all in one building and then be able to just see a bunch of great artists jump on a stage and perform for an opportunity to win the bag. I'm talking about it. It's a big bag. It's a big bag to win, but I mean, I think I would go there and probably perform just to get connections. Like, I will go there to just rock out and kill the stage and see, like, what would happen if I actually win. That would be crazy. That would be. But I'm not an artist, so it don't matter. I want you guys to win. But, with that being said, yeah, that's crazy. But, okay, so, with your music, if you could perform anywhere, obviously, you know, I know you said, like, New York is, like, home to you, but outside of New York, outside of Florida, have you ever thought of performing overseas and stuff?
Absolutely. It's definitely crossed my mind, and it's something that I want to tap into more because I believe there's a whole market there.
Oh, yeah, you would be popular in London.
Yeah, like, that's what I'm saying. Like, I want to find a way to make that work somehow.
Are you tapped in yet with, like, the London, like...
Not really.
Oh my god, I have so many groups.
Yo, wow.
I found out about drill music, like, obviously in New York and stuff, but London, they have their own wave.
Yeah.
So, listening to their, like, style of hip-hop and stuff has been, like, crazy for me. Like, I fell in love with London before I even went to London.
Wow.
And then when I went to London, I was just like, I'm coming back.
Dang.
But then COVID happened.
Oh yeah.
So I went to Paris twice, London, and then now I've been saying I'm gonna go back, but I know everyone's like, oh, COVID is over. I'm like, is it really? Because things are a little shaky right now.
Right.
I definitely probably want to go back in the summer. My birthday's in July, so it's like I spent one of my birthdays in London. I was like, damn, I want to go back and do my birthday there again, just because that's how great it was. But this one, I want to go like towards like South London. I know everyone's like, that's the hood, but I'm like, but that's where the people are. That's the culture. Like, if you don't go to South London, then what you doing? You know, like, but I would definitely love that. But I definitely am in a few groups. I'll send them to you. You know, you jump on in these groups and you start sending them your music and stuff. They feature you. It's a whole new market.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, I have a good friend of mine. I met her in New York actually, and one of the most beautiful voices I've ever heard. Amazing guitar player. She goes by Dora Jar. She just opened for Billie Eilish on tour.
Wow.
But how, like, she's in London touring right now. And I'm like, there's a market I have to tap into.
London is where it's at. I mean, they're they embrace music like it's insane how much they admire. Let's just say like American,
That's what I'm
saying.
Music.
Like,
you gotta
they love
go.
it.
I don't remember where I heard this. You have to go where you are celebrated, not tolerated.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Even if you do your like, so if you check your like streaming and stuff, and you
Right.
tell me like a city that like you're popular in, I'll find events there. Like 100%. I've done it for other artists. He was like, all the way in Cali, and he was like, yeah, I'm popular like in Buffalo, and I'm like, Buffalo, New York,
Yeah,
and he's like, yeah, and I'm
Yeah.
like, that's super random, but
Yeah.
I went and I went through. I contacted all these people. I ended up meeting on IG, and then I got in contact with the producer, radio producer.
Yeah.
You know Mano. So he's like he used to be a rapper. I can't even say he's a rapper no more. But he used to be a rapper. He has a dope show.
Okay.
Very well known. And then it's out there in Buffalo, and she was like, no.
Wow.
She was like, I'm not. She was like, I don't do the events. She was like, I'm the producer on this show, and I check it. I'm like, of course, this is who I run into.
Wow.
But she put me on to like all these people in Buffalo that did events. So I just sent him all of them. And he was like, that's crazy. I was like, there's just the power of social media.
Absolutely.
Like, people will answer DMs and stuff if you're not like spamming them with music.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm not gonna have this artist send you all his music, but if you tell me the people he needs to contact just to perform, then I'll contact them, you know?
Absolutely.
So I don't know.
That's great.
Social media is crazy.
Yeah.
But it's
definitely.
crazy how far you can get. But
real.
I'll definitely pull those out, like pull those aside. I know there's there's an R&B page, and then there's just like UK art. There's like 2 UK just independent artist ones where you might even like run into a artist, a rapper or something. You'd be like, yo, like I could work for you, or you know, I just know you're so talented. I'm sure you could figure out a way to network with these artists.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I know that artists like they barter a lot. Like I've seen it where not even just the artist, but like one guy's like, oh, I do film outside of his artistry. And then another artist is like, oh yeah, I'm like a dope beat maker producer. It's like, oh, I'll do this for you if you do that for me. And then next thing you know, you're in London and you're like doing this like whole production. It's crazy.
No, it is. It is.
But this is the year. So what do you have? Like we come in close, you know, 2022 almost over.
I know.
What do you have coming up next year? What are you most excited about?
I'm very excited to just release more music. I feel like I've been sitting on a lot of music.
I bet your vault is crazy.
Oh my god, it is. I've been sitting on a lot of music because the way that I was used to thinking was like, well, when the time is right, I'll put out the song.
Oh,
when I have this many people, I'll put out the song.
The time is now.
Yeah, and especially like I follow Russ.
Oh, I love Russ.
Yeah, and
did you listen to his book? Well, I say listen because I listen to audiobooks.
Okay, yeah. So I actually I have his book.
Yeah,
and I just started rereading it last night.
It's amazing.
Yeah, because I just think it's a great example of something that it's not as far away as it feels. So he makes it feel a little bit closer, and it's true. It's very real. So I just look forward to putting out more music without so much like pressure and like concern, because again, the more I develop into my artistry, the more I want to branch out, because I'm, you know, although people maybe say otherwise, like I'm more than just music, right? Because I do feel like, oh my god, like that is everything that I am. But you know, I do act as well. Like TV and film is something that I really, really see happening too very soon. And then, you know, like I write a lot of poetry. Like I would love to publish a poetry. You know, like there's so many things. There's avenues I want to take, and I think because I've been holding out so much on certain things, I feel like I haven't been able to tap into those other things yet. I mean, I am. Like I study. I
have you done like poetry slams or anything like that?
I don't do so much spoken word as much as just writing. Yeah. You know, on paper and but just there's just so many creative ways, and then you know just with TV and film as well. Like that's something that, again, you know, acting. I have training there. And it's something that I'm very passionate about. And it's a whole other way to release, you know, certain parts of yourself. So I just look forward to tapping more into all of the things. And I really want to tour. So like, let's make that happen. You feel me?
Yeah. I'll tell you what, if you get connected with the right people, all that stuff is attainable.
100%.
You know, like you just need the right I would say the right connections, because everybody's like, oh, I need a manager. I was like, well, if your manager is not connected, then you're wasting your money on your manager, because really you're just going around, they're doing the same thing that you could be doing, because they're not connected. So now they're trying to build relationships and stuff, and you're just sitting around waiting for them to do that when you could be the one doing all that now, to the point where when it's time and somebody's like trying to present you with something, you're like, oh, let me call my manager that I don't really have, but I'm about to go get one because somebody need to look over this paperwork.
That's the thing, I do see what you're saying, because there are managers that, like you said, are already really interwoven in the industry and potentially have other clients. And then, with my particular situation, my manager, I feel like, she was my manager first and then became like one of my best friends. And
that's amazing.
It is. We went to school together.
It's important to have trust.
It is, and that's huge.
And love, but trust.
Yes, that is huge. And I guess you can't have one without the other, right? So, her and I went to school together at Loyola in New Orleans, and we met there, and then we somehow just started working together during COVID over FaceTime and stuff. And then from there, I was like, all right, what are the ways that we can help each other? Because we have that mentality of like, well, look, you might not be, in LA with, out here with all these people, but ultimately, we both have things we can offer. What are the ways that you can fill in the blanks? What are the ways that we can make this process better for both of us so that we do get to that point?
I'll say when that opportunity is presented to you, at least you can pick up the phone and you know who to call.
Exactly.
Because a lot of people, I feel bad because I know this like dope, talented artist out in New York. Man, he's so good, but he signed his contract unknowingly, and now he's stuck in this like 3-year contract. He don't make no money. But you talking about he go to all these places and perform, and he don't make a dime.
Yeah, that's something I would want to avoid. I've been in situations where people will say, I could do this for you, I could do that for you. I'm like, when you realize the value that you add as an artist, that was big for me. Like that shift of like, I need exposure, I need experience, turned into like, no, I have the experience. And I've worked my ass off for this talent. So, like, how can, like, I've had to keep in mind, like, what to say yes and no to. And it's hard. It's hard, but yeah.
I don't know. Contracts are scary to me. I can't imagine, like, with my music, now I'm signing a contract and I have nobody look it over. Now you own, like, my music, you own my name, my brand, everything, because I just signed my name and I did not read this. And now I gotta go perform and do all these events because you said so when I have no say. And now I'm doing the events and all my time is spent in the studio doing this, doing that. But you got no dime
that
to
sounds
your,
rush.
to your name because they're like, oh, we pay for this, we pay for that. They're paying your studio time, they're paying for your music
on paper
videos.
it sounds good, but what's really going down is not.
Yeah, no, it's never good. And I was like, no, there's definitely a fine line there. Somebody taking your money. You're definitely getting paid to perform. I promise you. They're booking. Somebody's booking you to perform.
That's what I'm saying.
I was like, I know how these things work. I know artists who perform for free, and I know artists who get booked to perform. And if you have a manager, you're definly getting paid to perform somewhere. Yeah. So it's rough. Yeah. But listen, you called yourself Gato. I like that nickname.
Oh,
I heard you try to slide it in there. I was like, yo,
honestly, yeah. It's become a thing. So I played basketball growing up, and everybody, Gato, Pat,
yeah.
I'm like, and people call me that, so I'm like, I like that.
Nah, it's dope. But to me, Gato in Spanish is expensive, so it just means you're a little bougie. You got some class. I try.
Fake it till you make it.
You got to in this world at least. Yeah. Listen, but it was a pleasure having you on the show.
Absolutely.
I love your energy. I love your vibe. I love your music, man. You're so talented and multi-talented because you do so many things outside of just being a vocalist. I see really, really big things for you. What you've accomplished so far, I think, is pretty It's pretty outstanding because you are independent, but you're more ahead than a lot of artists that I do know. But I always keep you guys kind of all on the same level because you're still independent.
Right.
But you are so close.
Thank you.
You're like right there from that one person who's gonna take you to the next level. I hope I can find them for you because I'm gonna do some researching and like I said, I'm trying to get you into this New York event. And listen, this is where you need to be. You need to be surrounded by the people who are connected already.
Absolutely.
Because once they see what you have to offer, it's a wrap after that.
That's what I'm saying.
Everybody's gonna be like, yo, come to this label. Nah, come to this label. So I feel like you just need that one shot. You just need and I feel like this event in New York, that's the stage. That's the stage that you need to be on, because everyone's gonna be there, and you need to be seen by the right people, heard by the right people, and then let them fight over you. Let them fight. You going back home anyways. Let them fight and decide, like, you know, who's gonna then get some offers and see what's next. And I can't imagine. I know, like, I just know how New York is. They can be like, yo, come here tomorrow. You're like, oh, but I leave tomorrow. Now you got a life decision to make. You're like, oh, go back to Orlando or go, you know, down this avenue and try this. So, I mean, that's just a life of a music artist, entrepreneur.
100%.
Everything you guys got going on.
Definitely.
I don't got to make those decisions. I just chill here in the studio.
Wow.
But I watch from afar, and I applaud you guys, because it's brave, you know? It's brave what you guys do. You make those decisions and decide to just be an artist and take on all that responsibility, make those sacrifices, push through the pains. Like, I don't know how you guys do it, but like I said, I applaud from afar, and I'm like, keep going. What do you need? I got resources.
I mean, please.
Yeah. So
that spreadsheet.
You got this track, High School.
Yes,
High
School.
What is this one about? This one is
I've been sitting on this one for a minute, but it just came out with a music video. Super excited.
Yeah.
So
that's my favorite part about I love hearing songs, but I love the creativity behind the music videos.
Yes, this one was definitely a lot of work, but it came together so effortlessly because the people involved believed in it, and that's super important. So this one just tells it's just supposed to feel really nostalgic. It's, you know, it just tells a story. It's kind of like, you know, your little boo thing in high school, like you rekindled with them, you know, a few years later, and this is where you guys are at. And like it's the video itself it's dope because it's very attention to detail. So, you know, if you pay attention to every detail, you might be left confused at the end, but that's exactly what I want. But yeah, it kind of just, it's just supposed to feel like a nostalgic, reminiscent song, you know, putting you back into that headspace. And for those listeners that maybe haven't been to high school yet or are still in high school, I know that they could still enjoy the song because it just has that feel-good element to it. So yeah, I would say it's like alternative pop, a little bit of R&B influence, but
it's cool that you went that direction, because we heard your R&B, you know, voice, and we heard you on like I think the second track, Sipping Away, it got a little more hip hop than I Could Be was really like emotional R&B. Like, I mean, that's my favorite, so obviously I love that song. But hearing the rest and hearing you dip and dabble into a little bit of everything just shows like how versatile you can be.
Right.
So that's really cool.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think you got some big features coming soon. I could see it because I know that you write like too, and I'm just like, you're gonna end up writing for somebody really big. That she's like, speak it, girl, speak it.
Speak that truth.
All right, well, listen, like I said before, it was a pleasure having you on the show.
Thank you so much.
If you want, just please like share your social media.
Totally.
Let everybody know where they can find you, where they can get more of your music, and then if there's any like words of wisdom or something you want to leave the listeners with, or maybe an artist out there struggling, you know, trying to make it, you're more than welcome to drop that, and then we'll get into your last track.
Sure. Yeah, so definitely you can keep up with me at Carolina Music on all social media platforms. I spell my name like Carolina, so Carolena instead of like Carolina. So Carolina Music, and carolinamusic.com, you know, at Carolina Music everywhere. Just find me, talk to me, let's have a conversation. Keep up with me because I just want to share my art and I want it to impact you. When it comes to any sort of wisdom I could impart on you, it would just be to not let your lowest moments define you. Because yes, they are a part of you and they allow you to tap into parts of you that you maybe don't recognize, and it's very scary. But I would say that the sooner you face those things, the more peace you will attain. So, and that goes for any career, artistry or not. So, yeah, that's it. Thank you guys so much for listening. Thank you, Elvy, for having me.
Absolutely.
Jamz Radio.
Anytime. You're welcome back, honestly, anytime.
Thank you.
But we got your track here all queued up. Why don't you go ahead and introduce it?
Bet. All right. This is the first radio premiere of High School.
Ran into you that night, just a matter of time. Whiskey over wine, your fingertips are mine. All black in high shoes, like we're back in high school. Shades on, but I see you. You're looking like bad news. My friends don't approve. I'm sneaking around for you. We're moving way too fast. I'm falling over you. Dark corners, empty rooms, staying late and breaking rules. Let's do it like we do, like we're back in high. Like we're back in high school. Like we're back in high. Like we're back in high school. Forget about the hype. Just worry about what you do. Like we're back in high. Like we're back in high school. Come through the window, be careful who sees. I remember when you said you'd steal the moon for me. Turn up the music, I'll mute that TV. We'll keep it on the low. How hard could it be? They wanna prove I'm sneaking around for you. We may be way too fast, but I'm still falling over you. Dark corners, empty rooms, staying late and breaking rules. Let's do it like we do, like we're back in high. Like we're back in high school. Like we're back in high. Like we're back in high school. Forget about the hype. Just worry about what you do. Like we're back in high. Like we're back in high school.
Make y'all little bangers, make y'all little hits. Make y'all little